Welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to consider this Studio Confessions. What I'm making this week is I am building talisman from scratch. So I want to let you into my studio today, not just to show my typical finished piece, how to get the polish in, how to do everything perfectly, but I just want to bring you into my studio so you can see the real process behind the building building with intention. Hey, good morning. Welcome to my studio. I just want to show some real behind the scenes. So where I'm starting with is my ceremonial pieces. I've been getting so deep into talisman pieces, and I really want, you're going to find me talking more and more about talisman pieces such as the ones that I have on. Pieces that I feel every artist should bring into their studio, even if just for yourself. You know, bringing in your own pieces that you love, bringing in your work, bringing in objects that you love working with. For me, it's like lately, one thing that I've been remembering is, I wanted to change material, but what I realized, these are my talisman. These are going to be built for strength. This is a bracelet that you're going to see coming up for me. Why do I feel like this type of material is my talisman? Well, these are actually ancient mastodon bone here, and however I arrange them and however I attach will be so much fun to do. But it's like, one thing I know is that I'm drawn to working with this ancient bone that is so interesting to me. To me, this holds the power of the mastodon way back when. So a talisman is all about when you're wearing a piece, it brings you back to your memory. It brings you back to who you are. It helps you remember who you are and what you're about. So when I wear my pieces with strength in there, I can feel my solar plex, I can feel my power center really moving me forward and holding my desires in places that I want to go. And that really is what it's about, building talisman jewelry. So for one, when you're in your studio and you're getting ready to build pieces like this, it's important to not cut yourself short of materials that you want to work with. So, and you know, for me, I have built talisman forever, and I find myself constantly going back to particular shapes, going back to gems, going back to paper over and over again. So for me, I am really just going to embrace bringing paper into my work and finding different ways that I can work with this. So this is pretty powerful for me. These I embed words in, and I have layers and layers of my story inside here. So when I wear this, I can remember my story. And usually I wear a big stack on here with it, but you can get the point. You'll see it sometime with a big stack on here. I'm not going to wear it in my studio. I don't want to create a fire, right? But this is what you want to do in your studio, is first of all really identifying what type of an object you love and would make you feel so good and would make your studio fill out and would make your, you know, you remember a trip that you want to bring. Like for instance, I was just in India not too long ago. So what did I bring back from India? Whether it was a memory, an object, a technique, a flower, a drink, what did I bring back from India that would help me get back to that space in India so I can build beautiful pieces kind of based on this beautiful culture, but still make it my own. So that's one of the important things really about a talisman, is really making the point to still make it your own. I'm an American, I live in Cleveland. I study talisman and cultures all over the world, but I always make a point not to do cultural appropriation, to always bring it back to my own personal work, which naturally happens when you're an artist and building your pieces intuitively, right? So to start with, you guys, this actually has nothing to do with paper, nothing to do with an object. This is a piece that I crocheted years and years ago. It's a 26 gauge sterling silver, and I probably have a good yard here of it. And it's probably about 2 inches in width and, you know, a good yard in length. And I did this many years ago. You know where you guys can find, I'll show this on another tape, maybe just sit around and crochet in metal for you guys. That would be fun. I like the crochet needle. Crocheting for me is something that I learned from my great-grandmother from Croatia. So it really is a part of my history. So I love bringing crochet into my work. This, actually, the technique, crocheting with metal, is in my book, Making Connections, that I wrote way back in 2007. And I brought a lot of fiber and cold joints into the jewelry industry through this book. It was published a long time ago. You might be able to find it on Amazon if you're interested. Let me know if you think you'd want to self-publish that book if you check it out. Many, many people have asked me. I'm thinking about self-publishing again. So that was, yeah, written by me years ago, but it's still pretty relevant. What I did is walk around in the world, and I brought cold joins back into the jewelry world, or brought cold joins on a big scale from architecture into a small scale with jewelry. So it was pretty cool. So anyway, I'm going to use this as my object today. I've been dreaming about this. I've had it on my shelf. I built this many years ago, and I'm finally ready to use it. Which is why us as artists, we don't throw things away, right? Because sometimes we get inspired by them and we don't expect it. So the first thing that I did is I'm going to show you this little, what I'm going to have to do on here is I'm going to cut it to size. So I'm going to get this measured out, and I'm going to just do some riveting with some end caps on here, do some end pieces on here. So when I sat and thought about my crocheted piece, I thought, how do I, this would actually look great, nice and flat as a bracelet. And I can build out all these charms and pieces. I'm going to take off this bracelet just because it's not going to do me good here today. That's when I want to wear out. So how do I want to, you saw in my paper piece, when I'm also thinking about a body of work in here and creating talisman, what do I want to create with this look that I'm building? And I realized, like, my next, one of my moves during this time that I'm building ceremonial pieces is doing a stack of paper for a necklace and a hinge, something like this. This is a piece that I built, a mastodon bone, for power, of course, energy and power. But I'm going to build this for a neck piece so I can hinge it on my neck. I don't want it any thicker than this, but it'll be stacked with a whole layer of ruffly paper. So that's kind of reminding me of, so I want to really think out the concept of what I'm building. And I'm talking about, like, how do you create a big body of work in your talisman, in your ceremonial work. So I love this hinge. This piece can be part of it. And I am thinking of, like, I'm bringing in clothing style from the 1800s. So say I'm working in this type of style. So how would I present this piece here? First of all, I want to decide if I want it up as a choker or if I want it laying down flat, like, you know what I mean. So the way I started, I was like, oh my gosh, I know how I need to present this. I need to get this curled up, and I can probably grab a pencil, but see how the top of it, if I curl up this edge, I'm making a whole different voice. And I'm going to curl up this edge. Now, mind you, when I get over to my studio, I'll get it curled a little differently. But for now, I want this curl, and maybe I make sure it's spread far enough open. First of all, make sure it's spread evenly. This has been sitting around for a while. I really still do want to polish this. Just because it looks like fiber and fabric doesn't mean that I don't want to polish this. So I need to get this all evened out beautifully. And then see, you can see this on here. And then my next step is curling. I'm going to be curling it under. I'll probably take a pencil. I kind of like the idea of a pencil curl, like the size of a pencil, right? So I have to work that out a little bit more. So that's one side that's curved. And the other side we're going to bring in as well. I need it really curled over a lot more so it presents nicely. But I think you can get the gist of it. See how it's kind of dimensional now? Will it stay like that? I have to do things to my piece to ensure that it does stay that way. And then this is going to be a beautiful frame. This is metal. This can support so much weight on it with charms and pieces. And I think people who know my work know that I love these big, dramatic clothing items that is jewelry. Actually, when I did, there's a film in here, I did Miami Swim Week, and there's a film in here, there was no swimsuit, it was swimsuits and my jewelry, my big, big, big pieces. And it was really fun because there was no swimsuit company that I could match with because my jewelry took over. So I got to be on my own. I had 8 models and they came down the runway draped in jewelry. So imagine that. So now I'm creating a piece that has this ruffled edge. So how would I keep this if someone wore it? One thing I can do is start by only putting my components under this lip. So I'll always have this lip curling up. This piece, maybe I'd put something up here, you know, maybe something fibery. Or maybe I'd hang a little bit of charms, but I don't think I really would. This might be, stay very clean. But where I put my attachments and hang my pieces from would all be under my curve. And that's gonna ensure that I always have a space to hang. And I always have a place where this can curl and stay exactly the way I want it, right? Okay, so now I've got the beginning done and I decided, you know, also I can do one shaped like this that comes down. See how nicely this is gonna fit? And I might do both. I might do a piece that just comes around. Look at how nice that looks from the side. You know, the top flipped over in the bottom. So I might do one that comes lower too. We'll see. They're both so effective. I love doing the chokers. So, okay, this is actually one of my pieces. I'm gonna wheel right up here. So I got one of these. This is from New York. If you guys don't have one, it's like I used to have a mirror next to me. When you're building jewelry, you really kind of need, that's why I put my lipstick on every day. Because when you're building jewelry, you need to be able to see the scale. You need to be able to see what it looks like. So I built these pieces, which are crazy to wear and amazing. You have to put your hair up. And this is like I'm exploring these type of cage styles. So this one, I'm really excited about this style here, and I can see it on her. So if I didn't, I'm gonna put this to the back because to get my measurement, I made sure her neck was the same, you know, really the same width as mine. And it is, I have a small neck, you know, but a lot of my customers don't, or someone who wants to wear this may not. You know, so these chokers that hook up, I want to make sure that it's adjustable. So the way that I hook up is by really measuring on my piece. Remember I said I can do this lower. I think I'm going to do one, just a really kind of nice, tight choker. So where my measurement is here. So this is right where I want to cut it. Also, there's about a good 1.5 inches I left in the back where it doesn't close up. So when I cut this right here, this is going to end. I'll have about 1.5 inches in between. Oh, look, this is already getting to be a noteworthy piece, right, guys? Just from a line of simple crochet. So I'm going to cut this right here. One thing I want to always make sure is that there's more than enough room to put hooks or decorations or put anything that I wanted to in the back. You know, that always works out well. And with this, I'm going to put a cover on these so it doesn't come unraveled. So mine is just going to be a cut. Let me get her back where she belongs. I love that it's on wheels. Makes it so easy in my studio. And I am just going to go ahead and cut. That's a fear, right, guys? To be able to cut something that you've had for a long time. Isn't that a fear? Isn't that a beautiful fear? It's going to come unraveled, all this work for nothing. But here we go. It'll be this beautiful piece. I'm already loving it. You know, it has a lot to say. It's transparent. That's some of my very, very favorite work to do. Okay, so what I'm going to work on today in my studio, you know, if you guys are in your studio, think about what you want to work on for a ceremonial piece. This piece is mine. This piece is mine in my studio. The way that you build your very profound work and your talisman work and your ceremonial work is by not thinking, oh my God, this is gonna look so amazing. I'm gonna love to see this on the wall. You can never build your artwork for the wall. That is such an important factor that I learned when I was in art school. Never build your work to put on a wall because that's too much pressure. You know, for me to be thinking this has to be everything, it's gonna put me into fear about every single move that I make to build my ceremonial piece. So instead, I wanna just let myself be, let myself relax. My best work is gonna come through, trust myself, and just start building. And I'm gonna build with the simplest of things. I'm gonna actually, the back is not gonna be curled over. I'm just putting some backing onto my piece. And I'll show you what I'm doing. I actually cut them out already. I'm gonna get rid of this piece, put it aside, and it's not gonna come unraveled, it's metal. So that's cool. We'll see what I do next with it. You know, when you do a body of work, there's a lot of layers to it.